The north is cold and full of whispers.
Before we dive in, check the link in the description if you want exclusive timelines, members-only videos you won't find on YouTube, all on our Patreon. Eddard Stark sits at the table, his second week as Hand of the King. Around him the machinery of power turns, voices arguing, coins clinking, lies flowing like wine. Patir Baelish, Littlefinger, leans back in his chair, smiling, always smiling. The crown's expenses exceed income by 500,000 gold dragons this year, my lords. We must consider raising taxes in the— Absolutely not, Grand Maester Pycelle wheezes. The small folk are already burdened. We should reduce expenditures, perhaps limit the city watch. He sits at the far end, commander of the gold cloaks, thick-necked, arrogant. Crime is rampant. I require additional funds for recruitment. Another 50 men at minimum. Varys the spider spreads his hands. His voice is soft, gentle. My little birds tell me Commander Slint's men are quite well compensated already. Perhaps too well for mere city guards? Slint's face reddens. Are you questioning my— Gentlemen, Ned says quietly. The table goes silent. They look at him, the honorable Lord of Winterfell. The king's oldest friend, a man out of his depth in this nest of vipers. That's what they think. Ned stands. We'll reconvene tomorrow. I need to review the ledgers myself before making decisions. Littlefinger's smile widens. Of course, Lord Stark, though I should warn you, the crown's finances are quite complex. It may take some time to understand. I understand enough. Ned walks to the door, stops, turns back. Commander Slint, I've been reviewing reports from the City Watch. Some troubling patterns. Dismissed positions suddenly filled with new appointees. Merchant complaints about protection fees. We'll discuss this further tomorrow, privately. Just for a moment. As you wish, my lord. The others file out, whispering, calculating. Ned remains, alone in the council chamber. His hands tremble slightly. Not from fear, from something else. A cold rage he's been carrying since he arrived in this city. The memories come unbidden. His father, Rickard Stark, burning in his armor while the Mad King laughed. His brother Brandon, strangling himself trying to save their father. Both dead, both murdered in this city, because they came seeking justice. Jon Arryn's face, the man who raised him, dead in his bed. They said it was a fever, but Ned knows better. Jon had been investigating something dangerous enough to kill for. Lyanna's voice, dying in a bed of blood. Promise me, Ned. Promise me you'll protect him. The images fade. Ned is back in the council chamber. His breathing steadies. He walks to the window, looks out at King's Landing. 500,000 people, a cesspit of corruption and death. The city that killed his father, his brother, Jon Arryn. If I play their game with honor, I will die, Ned thinks. My family will die. Jon will be discovered and executed. Sansa and Arya will be hostages. Robb will march south, seeking vengeance, and be destroyed. I cannot let that happen. Ned returns to his desk, takes out parchment, begins to write. The first letter goes to Winterfell. To Robb, my son. Send 50 men south, experienced fighters who can blend in as merchants and traders. They should arrive quietly in small groups over several weeks. Report to Jory Cassell. Tell no one the true purpose. This is vital. Your father needs you. 50, not 200. Ned must be careful not to trigger alarm. Gradual reinforcement. Patient planning. The second letter is brief. Your Grace, I require a private audience regarding City Watch matters and Crown security. At your earliest convenience, Eddard Stark, Hand of the King. He seals both. Calls for a servant, sends them. Then he sits, thinking. Janos Slint is corrupt. That much is obvious from the ledgers. Positions sold, bribes taken. But corruption alone isn't enough. Ned needs to understand the full scope. Who Slint answers to, who profits from his schemes, who might have used him for darker purposes. Jon Arryn had been investigating something before he died. The servants whispered about it, the Grand Maester visiting frequently, Jon reading old books about lineages, visiting the Street of Steel, asking questions about Robert's bastards. Why would Jon care about Robert's bastards? Ned pulls out the book he found in Jon's chambers, the lineages and histories of the great houses of the Seven Kingdoms. He's read it twice now. The Baratheon section shows 300 years of consistent traits. Black hair, black eyes, no exceptions. Robert's acknowledged bastards, Maya Stone in the Vale, the boy Gendry in the city, all have black hair, but Robert's 3 legitimate children, golden-haired, green-eyed, not a trace of Baratheon in them. The implication hangs in Ned's mind like a sword, but it's too dangerous to voice. Not yet. Not without more evidence. Not without controlling the pieces on the board. One step at a time. King's Landing. The Tower of the Hand. That evening, Jory Cassell enters Ned's chambers. "My lord, you sent for me." Ned gestures for him to sit. Jory does, watching his lord carefully. Something has changed in Ned Stark since they arrived in this city. "Jory, how many men do we have who are absolutely loyal?" 20 household guards, my lord. All northern men. They'd die for you. Not enough for what's coming. Ned leans forward. "I've sent for reinforcements from Winterfell, 50 men, arriving in small groups over the next month. But until then, we work with what we have." "What's happening, my lord?" "We're securing our position, starting with the city watch." Ned pulls out his notes. "Janos Slynt is corrupt. I've found evidence in the ledgers, positions sold, crown funds missing, merchants paying protection. But that's not all. Someone in this city has been eliminating problems quietly. Jon Arryn was investigating something before he died. I believe whoever wanted those investigations, stopped, might have used men like Slynt. You think Slynt had Jon Arryn killed? I think Slynt answers to someone who might have. That's what I need to discover." Ned stands. "Tomorrow, I'm confronting him about the corruption, offering him a choice: confess and cooperate, or face arrest and trial. Either way, I need to know who he's working with. And if he refuses to talk, then we hold him and dig deeper. But Jory, this must be done carefully. If I move against Slynt openly and fail, whoever is behind him will know I'm hunting them. I need to be certain before I strike." Jory nods slowly. "You've changed, my lord. This isn't the approach you'd have taken at Winterfell." "No. At Winterfell, I could afford honor. Here, Ned looks out the window at the darkening city. Here, honor gets you killed. My father and brother learned that. Jon Arryn learned that. I won't make their mistake. What do you need me to do? Tomorrow, after I speak with Slynt, I want you ready with 10 men. If he cooperates, we let him return to his quarters under watch. If he threatens or tries to flee, we take him quietly. No public scene. Not yet." "Understood, my lord." When Jory leaves, Ned returns to the lineage book. Reads the Baratheon pages again. The pattern is undeniable. But proving the queen's children are bastards, that requires more than a book. It requires witnesses, evidence, control, and it requires understanding who killed Jon Arryn, because whoever did it knows the same secret Ned is uncovering. King's Landing. The Tower of the Hand, the next afternoon. Janos Slynt enters Ned's study, wary, confused, arrogant enough to think he can bluster his way through. "Lord Stark, you wish to see me? Sit." Ned's voice is cold. He doesn't look up from the ledgers spread across his desk. Slynt sits. Uncomfortable, Ned finally looks up. "I've been reviewing the City Watch finances. The Crown allocates 60,000 gold dragons annually for your operations. Yet your reports show expenditures of only 40,000. Where is the remaining 20,000? Administrative costs, my lord? Recruitment, training, equipment maintenance? Show me the receipts." "For the equipment, the training, the recruitment, surely you keep records of how Crown funds are spent?" "Well, my lord, the day-to-day operations don't always generate formal. I also found something interesting." Ned pulls out a different document. Merchants in Flea Bottom are paying monthly fees to City Watch officers. Fees that aren't recorded in any official ledger. Protection money. Bribes. "What do you know about this?" Slynt's face reddens. "Some merchants voluntarily contribute to help." "Don't lie to me." Ned's voice cuts like ice. "I have sworn statements from 3 merchants. They describe officers demanding payment in exchange for protection and priority response. This is extortion, Commander, using the king's authority to steal from his subjects. Lord Stark, these accusations are—" "Sit down." The command freezes Slynt. He sits. Ned leans forward. "You have a choice, Commander. You can confess. Tell me everything. Who you report to beyond the council, who benefits from these schemes, who might have asked you to do other things. Or you can refuse and I'll have you arrested right now for corruption and theft from the crown. Your choice. Slint's eyes dart, calculating. If I cooperate, what do I get? The wall instead of the executioner. Maybe. If your information is valuable enough and you tell me everything, just fear. It was. Lord Baelish helped me get the position. Commander of the City Watch. In exchange, I do favors sometimes. Assign men where he wants. Look the other way when his people move through the city. Take payments from merchants he directs to me. What kind of favors? Information mostly. Who's meeting with who? What ships arrive? Which lords are visiting brothels? Slint hesitates. Sometimes more. They might have an accident, get arrested for a crime they didn't commit, disappear into the black cells. Ned's blood runs cold. Did Jon Arryn cause problems for Baelish's interests? I don't know anything about Lord Arryn's death. I wasn't involved in that. But someone was. Someone Baelish might have used. I don't know. I swear, Lord Stark, I don't know who killed Jon Arryn. Ned studies him. Slint is terrified. Telling the truth, or at least what he believes is the truth. Did Baelish ever ask you about Jon Arryn? About what he was investigating? He asked me to watch Lord Arryn's movements. Report who he met with, where he went, but that was weeks before Lord Arryn died. And then afterward, Lord Baelish never mentioned it again. Ned leans back. The picture is forming. Littlefinger using Slint as a tool. Watching Jon Arryn, and when Jon got too close to something dangerous, someone eliminated him. You'll write all of this down, Ned says. Every favor you did for Baelish, every payment, every crime. You'll sign it, and then you'll stay in quarters under guard while I verify your claims. And then the wall. But Slint, if I discover you've lied, if you've held anything back, there will be no mercy. Understood? Yes, my lord. I understand. Ned calls for Jory. Escort Commander Slint to his quarters. 10 guards, no visitors. He has a confession to write. As they take Slint away, Ned sits alone. His hands are steady now. The first piece is moved. Littlefinger is connected to Slint's corruption, possibly to Jon Arryn's death. But possibly isn't enough. Ned needs proof. Real evidence. Something even Robert can't ignore. And he needs to move carefully. Littlefinger has eyes everywhere. If he learns Ned is hunting him, he'll run or strike first. Patience. Planning. Like hunting a wolf in the wolf's wood. One careful step at a time. King's Landing. The Tower of the Hand. 3 days later, Ned has Slint's confession, 20 pages of detailed crimes, corruption, extortion, murder on Littlefinger's orders, 3 men killed over the past 2 years for causing problems, but nothing directly connecting Littlefinger to Jon Arryn's death. Just suspicious timing, just patterns. Not enough. Ned summons Varys. The spider arrives quietly, hands folded, smiling gently. Lord Stark, I wondered when you would call on me. Sit, Lord Varys. We need to talk. Word has spread that you've taken Commander Slint into custody. Quietly, but not quietly enough. People whisper. What do they whisper? That the Hand is rooting out corruption. That the Honorable Ned Stark has found his fangs. That perhaps King's Landing should be more careful. Varys tilts his head. You've surprised everyone, Lord Stark, myself included. I'm full of surprises lately. Tell me about Littlefinger. What would you like to know? Everything. His schemes, his allies, his leverage. And most importantly, what Jon Arryn discovered that got him killed. Varys is quiet for a long moment. That is a dangerous question, my lord. I didn't summon you for safety. I summoned you for truth. Very well. Varys leans forward. Lord Baelish is the most dangerous man in King's Landing. Not because he commands armies or sits on the Iron Throne, but because he sees the realm as a ladder to climb, and he doesn't care how many rungs break beneath him. He profits from chaos, from conflict, from pitting houses against each other. Did he kill Jon Arryn? Not directly. Lord Arryn died of poison. The tears of lice, my little birds suggest. Administered by someone close to him, someone who loved him but was manipulated. Lysa, Ned says quietly, his wife. A possibility my birds whisper about. But proving it? Varys spreads his hands. Lady Lysa is in the Vale, beyond your reach. And she's mad with grief and paranoia. She'd never confess, even if you could compel her own husband. Because someone convinced her it was necessary. Someone who knew how to play on her fears. Her obsession with protecting her son, Her jealousy of her husband's attentions to King's Landing politics? Varys pauses. Someone like Lord Baelish, who loved her when they were young and knows exactly how her mind works. Ned processes this. What was Jon investigating that Littlefinger wanted buried? Varys meets his eyes. The same thing you're investigating, Lord Stark, the royal children, their parentage. Jon Arryn discovered the truth. He was preparing to tell King Robert, and so he died. Quickly, quietly, before he could speak. You know about the children. I know many things. The question is, what do you intend to do with that knowledge? Protect my family, stabilize the realm, and remove those who would tear it apart for their own gain. Varys nods slowly. Then we can help each other. I'll tell you what my little birds know about Lord Baelish. You ensure the realm doesn't descend into war. Do we have an understanding? We do. But Varys, whose side are you truly on? The realm's Lord Stark. Always the realm's. Whether you believe that or not is your choice. But for now, our interests align. That's enough. They talk for 2 hours. Varys reveals Littlefinger's schemes. The brothels used for gathering intelligence, the debts owed to him by half the lords in Westeros, the way he's been skimming gold from the crown for years, hiding it in false ledgers and corrupt contracts. And most damning, Varys confirms that Littlefinger manipulated Lysa Arryn into poisoning her husband, then had her send a letter to Catelyn Stark blaming the Lannisters, deliberately stoking Stark-Lannister tensions. He wanted a war, Varys says. Between your house and theirs, while you destroyed each other, he would rise. The chaos is his ladder. I want the court to see what happens to those who betray the realm. Bold, but dangerous. Lord Baelish has allies. Secrets. If you move against him, you must be certain you can contain the fallout. I have Slint's confession. I have your intelligence, and I have the trust of the king. It's enough. Varys stands. Then I wish you fortune, Lord Stark, and I will ensure my little birds watch carefully. If Lord Baelish has contingencies, you'll know of them. When Varys leaves, Ned sits alone. Tomorrow, Petyr Baelish falls, and the game accelerates. But Ned is ready, he's learned to play, and he intends to win. King's Landing, the small council chamber. The next morning, the council gathers. Pycelle, Varys, Renly Baratheon, Littlefinger, Barristan Selmy. They sit, waiting for Ned to begin. Ned stands at the head of the table. Behind him, Jory Castle and 10 Stark guards line the walls. More than usual, the council members notice, exchange glances. Lord Stark, Pycelle says, the guards are conspicuous. Is there some concern? There is, Grand Maester, a serious matter that requires the council's attention. Ned looks at each member. For the past week, I've been investigating irregularities in the Crown's finances and the City Watch operations. Littlefinger's smile is firmly in place. Of course, my lord. I'm happy to explain any questions you have about the ledgers. I'm not asking questions, Lord Baelish. I'm presenting findings. Ned pulls out documents. The City Watch has been engaged in systematic corruption, selling positions, extorting merchants, skimming crown funds. Commander Slint has confessed to these crimes and named his accomplices. The room goes still. Where is Commander Slint? Renly asks. In custody. He's been removed from his position. Sir Jacelyn Bywater will assume temporary command of the City Watch, pending the king's approval. A necessary action if the corruption is as you say. Though I'm curious why this wasn't brought to the full council before acting. Removing the City Watch commander is rather dramatic. I briefed the king before acting. He approved. Ned meets Littlefinger's eyes. But that's not the only matter. In his confession, Commander Slint detailed other activities, including eliminating problems for certain parties in King's Landing. 3 murders over the past 2 years. Men who were causing difficulties for someone's business interests. Disturbing, Varys murmurs. Did Commander Slint name these parties? Lord Baelish, Commander Slint claims you arranged his appointment as commander, that you've been directing his activities using the City Watch to protect your interests and eliminate your obstacles. Is this true? The smile finally fades. Littlefinger's eyes sharpen. Commander Slint is a corrupt man trying to save himself. Of course, he'd invent stories about others. I recommended him for the position years ago, yes, at the king's request, I might add. But I have no control over what the man does once appointed. Each for 500 gold dragons. What were those payments for? Loans. Personal loans. Slint owed me money from gambling debts. I was simply collecting. Strange that these loan repayments always coincided with someone causing problems for your brothels disappearing or dying. Strange coincidence. Lord Stark, these are serious accusations, based on the word of a confessed criminal. Surely you need more than that before dragging a member of the small council through. I have more. Ned pulls out another document. Your financial records. The real ones. Lord Varys' network helped me find your secondary ledgers. The ones showing how you've been embezzling from the crown for the past decade. Creating false contracts, inflating expenses, skimming gold, over 300,000 dragons stolen from the realm's coffers. Littlefinger's face goes very still. His eyes flick to Varys. The spider's expression is neutral, unreadable. This is absurd, Littlefinger says. But his voice has lost its confidence. The Master of Coins accounts are complex. If there are discrepancies, they're errors, not theft. Documented. Proven. And that's before we discuss Jon Arryn. The temperature in the room drops. Jon Arryn? Pycelle's voice quavers. Lord Arryn was investigating something before he died. Something dangerous. He was asking questions about the royal children, visiting Robert's bastards, reading lineage books. And then he died, suddenly, conveniently. Ned looks at Littlefinger. Commander Slint says you had him watch Lord Arryn's movements in the weeks before his death. Report where he went, who he met with, why. Jon was the Hand. It's natural to be aware of what the Hand is investigating. That's not conspiracy. That's basic competence. You're asking if I murdered the king's hand, based on a corrupt watchman's testimony and some financial records? Lord Stark, you're grasping at. Answer the question. Littlefinger meets Ned's eyes. For a long moment, neither speaks. The council watches, waiting. Finally, Littlefinger sits back down. No, I did not kill Jon Arryn. I didn't need to. He was an old man investigating a dangerous truth. That truth would kill him all on its own. I simply didn't interfere. What truth, ask your king. Better yet, look in the mirror and ask yourself, do you really want to know? Because once you speak it aloud, once you make it real, this realm tears itself apart, and you'll have to live with that. Lord Baelish, you are under arrest for embezzlement, corruption, conspiracy, and suspected involvement in the death of Jon Arryn. You'll answer these charges before the king. Now, I have rights. You have the right to remain silent until your trial. Guards. Jory and 2 others move forward. Littlefinger stands, doesn't resist. But his eyes never leave Ned. You're making a mistake, Lord Stark. I'm not the enemy you think I am. And removing me won't solve the real problem. It'll only make it worse. We'll see. They take him away. The council sits in stunned silence. Varys is the first to speak. A bold move, Lord Hand. Though I wonder, what did Lord Baelish mean about a dangerous truth? That's a matter for the king, Ned says. We're adjourned. Littlefinger sits in darkness. He's been here for 2 days. No light, no visitors. Just stone and his thoughts. The door opens. Torchlight floods in. Ned Stark enters. Alone, Lord Stark. Come to gloat. Come to talk. Ned sets the torch in a bracket. Sits on the stone bench opposite Littlefinger's. You said I was making a mistake. Explain. You've changed. When you arrived in King's Landing, you were so pure, honorable, predictable. Now you're arresting council members, manipulating evidence, playing the game. What happened? I learned. The city teaches quickly. It does, but here's your mistake. You think removing me removes the problem. It doesn't. The real problem is sitting on the throne, or rather the fake heirs sitting beneath it. Cersei's children, Cersei and Jaime's children, born of incest, not a drop of Baratheon blood in them. Jon Arryn discovered it, was going to tell Robert, and now you know it too. What are you going to do about it? Ned is silent. You can't tell Robert, Littlefinger continues. The moment you do, he kills Cersei, probably Jaime too. Then Tywin Lannister marches on King's Landing with 50,000 men. The realm goes to war. Thousands die. And you, the Honorable Ned Stark, you'll be the one who started it. Jon Arryn was going to tell him. Jon Arryn was murdered before he could, by someone who understood that some secrets are too dangerous to speak. Someone who knew that truth would destroy the realm. You had Lysa poison him. Littlefinger's expression doesn't change. Prove it. Lysa is in the Vale, mad with grief and paranoia, surrounded by guards who'd die before letting you question her. Even if you could reach her, she'd never confess. And even if she did, she'd claim I manipulated her, a claim you can't prove. It's hearsay, speculation, not evidence. Slynt's confession says I had him watch Jon Arryn, not kill him. You have corruption, embezzlement, murder of 3 irrelevant men in Flea Bottom. That's enough to send me to the wall or the executioner. But you don't have proof I killed the Hand. And without that, this arrest looks like political maneuvering, not justice. Ned stands, paces. Tell me about the dagger, the Valyrian steel dagger used to try to kill my son. Littlefinger raises an eyebrow. Ah, yes. I told your wife that dagger belonged to Tyrion Lannister. That was a lie. I know. Why did you lie? To start a war. Stark versus Lannister. While you destroyed each other, I would rise. Chaos is a ladder, Lord Stark. I've been climbing for years. And now you've fallen. I'm still alive. Still useful. You need information about the Lannisters. About their plans. About Cersei's next moves. I can give you that. In exchange for my life. Better than death. I'll take the black. Spend my days freezing on the wall. But I'll help you first, tell you everything I know about Cersei, Jaime, Tywin. Help you navigate what comes next. Because Lord Stark, arresting me was the easy part. Dealing with the Queen and her bastard children, that's when things get truly dangerous. Ned studies him. Littlefinger is a snake. But he's a useful snake. And he's right. Ned needs intelligence about the Lannisters. Write your confession, everything. The embezzlement, the murders, Lysa and Jon Arryn, the dagger lie. All of it. Then we'll discuss terms. And if I refuse, then you hang. Tomorrow. Publicly. Your choice. Littlefinger smiles. Small. Tired. You really have learned, haven't you? Very well. I'll write my confession, and then we'll talk. Ned leaves him to it. In the corridor, Jory is waiting. My lord? Are you offering Baelish a deal? I'm getting information. Whatever he writes, he's still going to the wall. But first, he's going to tell me everything he knows about the Lannisters, their plans, their weaknesses, their secrets, anything he says. I'll verify it through Varys. Between the two of them, I'll have the truth. Or close enough. They walk through the dungeons. Above them, the Red Keep looms. Somewhere in those towers, Cersei is planning, scheming, trying to protect her children and her power. But Ned is planning too, and unlike Jon Arryn, he won't make his move until every piece is in place. King's Landing, the Tower of the Hand. 1 week later, Ned has Littlefinger's confession, 20 pages, every crime detailed, including the admission that he manipulated Lysa Arryn into poisoning Jon Arryn, then had her send the letter blaming the Lannisters. It's not proof that would satisfy a court, but it's enough for Ned to understand what happened, and it's enough to justify sending Littlefinger to the wall instead of executing him. Robert sits across from Ned. They're alone. A bottle of wine between them. Robert is on his 3rd cup. So Littlefinger poisoned Jon, Robert says. His voice is heavy, sad. My hand, my friend, murdered by that smiling whoremonger. Through Lysa. But yes, he orchestrated it. Why? What did Jon know that was worth killing for? Ned takes a breath. This is the moment, the truth he's been avoiding. Robert, Jon was investigating something about your children. Robert frowns. My children? What about them? He was comparing them to your other children, your bastards, Gendry, Maya, Bella. All of them have black hair, Baratheon black, like you. Of course they do, they're my blood. But Joffrey, Myrcella, and Tommen don't. Golden hair, green eyes, Lannister through and through. Robert's face goes blank. What are you saying? Ned pulls out the lineage book, opens it to the Baratheon pages. 300 years of Baratheons, every single one. Black hair. The seed is strong, Robert. Baratheon features always dominate. Always. There's never been an exception. Robert stares at the page. Reads. His hands start to shake. No, he says. No, that's... Cersei said Joffrey looked like her, that children sometimes favor their mothers. Not when the father is a Baratheon. Look at the history, Robert. Look at every Baratheon marriage. The children always have black hair. Always. Robert stands, walks to the window, his breathing is ragged. You're telling me my children, the heirs to my throne, they're not mine. I'm telling you what Jon Arryn discovered. What got him killed. The children have no Baratheon blood. They're Cersei's and Jaime's. Robert's voice is thunder, born of incest. Mockeries, lies. He grabs the wine bottle, hurls it across the room. It shatters against the wall. 17 years. 17 years she's been fucking her brother and passing off his bastards as mine. The heir to my throne is a Lannister whelp. Everything is a lie. I'll crush her skull with my bare hands. I'll kill Jaime. I'll kill all 3 of those abominations. No, Ned's voice cuts through Robert's rage. You won't. Robert turns. His face is purple with fury. Why in 7 hells not? The realm goes to war, and while we're all killing each other, the real threats, the things beyond our borders, those get ignored. Is that what you want? Another war? More death? I want justice. Then we do this smart. We remove the Lannisters from power without destroying the realm. We secure your succession, we ensure the next generation isn't built on lies. But we do it carefully, methodically, not in a rage. Robert slumps into his chair, puts his head in his hands. How? How do we do this without war? First, we control the military power in the city. The city watch is already ours. Bywater is loyal. We reinforce with northern men. Gradually, quietly, get enough strength in King's Landing that the Lannisters can't move against us. How many men? I've sent for 50 from Winterfell. They'll arrive over the next few weeks, disguised as merchants and traders. Combined with our household guard and loyal gold cloaks, that gives us enough to secure the keep. And then we gather evidence that even the realm can't deny. Not just a lineage book, not just speculation, real proof, witnesses, testimony, something so overwhelming that when we present it to the lords of Westeros, they'll have no choice but to acknowledge the truth. What kind of proof? The royal household, anyone who might have seen something. We document everything, and we find Cersei's mistakes, because she's made them. She's been hiding this for 17 years. Somewhere there's evidence. Robert is silent for a long time. Then, what about the succession? If those children aren't mine, who inherits? This is the moment Ned has been dreading. Your brothers, Stannis first, by law. Or we consider other options. Someone with royal blood, someone who could unite the realm rather than divide it. Who? Let me work on that. First, we secure the city, then we deal with Cersei. Then we solve the succession, one step at a time. Robert nods, exhausted, broken. I trusted her, Ned, not with my heart. I never loved her, but I trusted her not to betray me like this. Not with my own brother, not with my throne. I know. Do it your way, carefully, quietly. But Ned, when this is over, when we have the proof and the power, Cersei and Jaime die. That's not negotiable. Agreed. Robert stands, walks to the door, stops. Thank you for telling me, for not letting me die in ignorance like Jon almost did. When he's gone, Ned sits alone. The hardest conversation is done. Robert knows the truth, and he's agreed to be patient. Now comes the truly dangerous part, gathering proof while Cersei is watching, while the Lannisters are preparing, while the city holds its breath waiting for the storm. King's Landing, the Red Keep, Cersei's chambers. That same evening, Cersei paces. She's heard about Littlefinger's arrest, about his confession, about Ned Stark's investigation. Jaime watches her from the window. You're going to wear a hole in the floor. Littlefinger is in the dungeons. He knows everything, Jaime, about us. About the children. What if he tells Stark? He's always been loyal to his own interests, but he's never actively moved against us. He'll do whatever saves his life, and if telling Stark about the children buys him mercy, he'll do it. Cersei stops pacing. We need to act, now, before Stark has time to move against us. What do you suggest? Robert, we remove Robert. If he dies, Joffrey becomes king. As Queen Regent, I control the realm. Stark becomes just another lord, and we can deal with him properly. You want to kill the king. I want to survive. Robert is the only thing keeping Stark in power. Without Robert, everything changes. How? Cersei walks to her desk, pulls out a small vial, clear liquid, tears of Lys, untraceable. But it takes time. Too slow for our needs now. We need something faster. An accident. What kind of accident? A hunting accident. Robert goes hunting frequently, gets drunk, does stupid things. If he were to face a boar while too drunk to defend himself properly, you want me to arrange a hunting accident? Cersei, that's regicide. That's survival. Stark is moving against us. I can feel it. We have days, maybe a week before he has enough evidence to destroy us. We act first, or we lose everything. Jaime is silent. Then, what about the children? If this goes wrong, we're all dead anyway. But if it works, our son becomes king. That's worth the risk. And Stark? Once Joffrey is king, we arrest Stark. Try him for treason, execute him, remove the threat permanently. Once we do this, there's no going back. I'm certain. We've been playing defense since Stark arrived. It's time to attack. She kisses him. He holds her. Both knowing they're crossing a line, but seeing no other choice. Unknown to them, in the walls, a shadow moves. A child. One of Varys's little birds. Listening, watching. The information will reach the spider within the hour, and Varys will decide what to do with it. King's Landing. The Tower of the Hand. Late that night, Ned is preparing for bed when Varys appears. Through the secret passages. Silent as a ghost. Lord Stark, forgive the intrusion, but we have a problem. What is it? A hunting accident. She's arranging it for tomorrow or the day after. You need to stop it. My little birds hear everything. Cersei and Jaime discussed it in her chambers an hour ago. She's desperate, and desperate people are dangerous. Does Robert know? Not yet. I came to you first. You're the hand. You need to decide how to handle this. Ned thinks fast. I'll warn Robert, cancel any hunts. Keep him in the Red Keep where he's protected. That will work. For now. But Lord Stark, Cersei won't stop. If the hunt fails, she'll try something else. Poison. An assassin. She's committed now. You need to move against her soon, before she succeeds. I don't have enough evidence yet. Just the lineage book and speculation. The realm won't accept that. Then gather it quickly. Because if Robert dies, everything you've built collapses. Joffrey becomes king, and you become a traitor awaiting execution. Varys fades back into the shadows, leaving Ned alone with the knowledge that the game has accelerated. He can't wait for perfect evidence. He can't be patient anymore. Cersei has forced his hand, and now Ned has to act. King's Landing, the Red Keep, the next morning. Ned finds Robert in the training yard, watching knights spar, a cup of wine already in his hand despite the early hour. Robert, a word, privately. Robert looks at Ned's face. What's happened? Cersei knows we're investigating, and she's planning to kill you. Robert goes very still. What? A hunting accident. She's arranging it, probably through Lancel or another Lannister cousin. Get you drunk during the hunt, too drunk to defend yourself against a boar or bear. Make it look natural. That bitch. That's scheming. Robert, listen, we need to be smart. Cancel any hunts. Stay in the Red Keep. Surround yourself with loyal men, northern men, not Lannister squires, not gold cloaks who might be bought. Men we trust absolutely. For how long? Until I have enough evidence to move against her. Publicly. Decisively. Days. Maybe a week. I'm hiding in my own castle, from my own wife. You're staying alive. That's what matters. If you die, Joffrey becomes king, Cersei becomes regent. And she'll kill me, my daughters, everyone who threatens her. We can't let that happen. Robert nods slowly. All right, I'll stay inside. Cancel the hunts, pretend to be sick or drunk or whatever. But Ned, end this. Soon. I can't live like this, knowing what she's done, what she's planning. Every day is torture. I will. I promise. Ned leaves Robert surrounded by 10 northern guards. Men who'll die before letting anyone poison his wine or stab him in his sleep. Then Ned returns to his chambers. Calls for Jory. My lord? We're out of time. Cersei is moving against Robert. We need to gather evidence now. Today. Before she tries again. What do you need? Find everyone who served Jon Arryn in his last weeks. Servants, maesters, anyone who might have seen something. Question them. Carefully. See what they know about his investigation. About visitors. About anything suspicious. What about Grand Maester Pycelle? He treated Lord Arryn when he was sick. Bring him to me now. I'll question him myself. Jory leaves, returns an hour later with Pycelle. The old maester looks nervous. Lord Stark, you summoned me. Sit. Tell me about Jon Arryn's final illness. Pycelle sits. Uncomfortable. It was a fever, my lord. Very sudden. I treated him with every remedy I knew, but the progression was quite rapid. And there were certain signs, weakness, confusion, difficulty breathing. some of which might suggest Pycelle trails off. Suggest what? But I couldn't be certain, and accusing someone of poisoning the hand without proof would have been unwise. Why didn't you tell Robert? Tell him what, my lord? That I suspected poison but had no proof? That someone close to Lord Arryn might have killed him? I'm an old man. I value my life, and in King's Landing, making accusations without evidence is a death sentence. Ned leans forward. Did Jon Arryn tell you what he was investigating before he died? He asked me questions about heredity, about whether a child could have features completely different from their father's. I told him it was rare, very rare, especially with strong bloodlines like the Baratheons. What did he do with that information? He visited the Street of Steel, spoke with an armorer who had a young apprentice, a boy with black hair and blue eyes, one of the king's bastards, I believe. Then he went to the Vale, visited another of the king's natural children, a girl called Maya Stone. And what did he conclude? That all of the king's bastards share certain features. Black hair, Baratheon features, and that the royal children do not. Pycelle looks at Ned. I assume you've reached the same conclusion, my lord. I have. Will you testify to this, if it comes to a trial? Pycelle pales. My lord, testifying against the queen is, I could be executed for treason just for speaking such thoughts. Or you could be executed for concealing them. Choose carefully, Grand Maester. The truth is coming out. The only question is whether you're on the right side when it does. Pycelle swallows hard. If the king commands it, if there are others testifying, if I'm not alone in this, then yes. I'll tell what I know. Good. You're dismissed. But Grand Maester, if you warn Cersei, if you tell anyone about this conversation, I'll know. And you'll regret it. Pycelle leaves. Shaking, Ned sits back. He has testimony now. From Pycelle. From Littlefinger's confession. From the lineage book. It's not perfect, but it's enough to present to Robert and the council. Tomorrow he moves against Cersei. Publicly. Finally. The game is ending. And Ned intends to win. King's Landing. The King's Wood. 3 days later, despite Ned's warnings, Robert insisted on the hunt. Not to drink and carouse, but to draw out Cersei's plot, to catch her conspirators in the act. I won't hide in my castle like a frightened child, Robert had said. We go hunting, but this time I'm ready, and you're coming with me. Jory and 20 northern guards, Sir Barristan Selmy, and Lancel Lannister, Robert's squire who doesn't know he's being watched. Ned stays close to Robert. Watching Lancel's every move, the hunt begins. Dogs barking, men shouting. They track a boar, a massive beast, scarred and dangerous. Lancel offers Robert the wineskin, your grace, for your strength. Robert takes it, brings it to his lips, then pauses, looks at Ned. Ned nods slightly. Robert lowers the skin. Actually, I'll wait. Don't want to dull my senses before the kill. He hands it back to Lancel. You hold on to it. Lancel's face flickers, just for a moment. Confusion, fear. Your Grace, the wine is fine, I assure you. I'm sure it is, but I'm hunting sober today. First time in years. Let's see if I remember how it's done. They continue. The boar charges from the undergrowth. Robert plants his feet, spear ready, sober, focused. The thrust is perfect. The boar dies quickly, cleanly. Robert stands over it, breathing hard, triumphant, alive. Lancel watches, his plan in ruins. As they prepare to return, Ned approaches Lancel. Quietly, a word. Privately, Lancel follows Ned into the trees, away from the others. Jory and 2 guards trail them. When they're alone, Ned turns. The wine. What was in it? Triple strength? Enough to make the king too drunk to defend himself? Lancel goes white. I don't. The queen gave it to you, told you to get Robert drunk during the hunt, didn't she? Lancel looks around, desperate, trapped. My lord, please, I didn't want to. She made me, said it was just to help the king relax, to enjoy himself. I didn't know. You knew exactly what would happen. A drunk king facing a boar, the same way kings have died before. An accident. Ned steps closer. You were party to an assassination attempt on the king of the 7 kingdoms. That's regicide. The penalty is death. No, please, I'll tell you everything. The queen, she said the king needed to relax, that Lord Stark was making him paranoid, that this would help. I didn't realize. Tell me everything now. Every conversation, every instruction, every detail. Lancel talks. For a quarter hour, he explains how Cersei approached him, how she played on his loyalty to House Lannister, how she made it seem like he was helping, not hurting. When he's done, Ned has what he needs. Testimony, evidence, a direct link between Cersei and attempted murder. You'll write this down, Ned says. Sign it. And then you'll stay in my custody until the king decides your fate. If you cooperate, I'll speak for mercy. If you lie or try to flee, you hang. Understood. I understand. They return to the hunting party. Lancel under guard, Robert looks at Ned questioningly. Ned nods. We have him. Robert's face hardens. Let's go back to the city. I have business with my wife. King's Landing, the Red Keep. That evening, Ned briefs Robert in private. Shows him Lancel's written confession, the plan to get him drunk, Cersei's instructions. Robert reads it 3 times. His hands shake with rage. She tried to kill me, my own wife, the mother of 3 bastards she foisted on me as heirs. She tried to kill me. Yes, I want her arrested tonight. Now, I want her in chains in front of the whole court. Robert, we need to be careful. If we arrest the Queen publicly without overwhelming evidence, it looks like a power play. The Lannisters will claim we're manufacturing charges. Tywin will have an excuse to march. I don't care. She tried to kill me. I know. But think tactically. We have Lancel's confession. We have Pycelle's testimony about the children. We have Littlefinger's confession about manipulating Lysa. We have everything we need, but we present it properly. We call a court session. We lay out the evidence. We make it so overwhelming that no one can deny it. Robert paces. How long? We gather the court, prepare the evidence, bring in the witnesses. Then we present everything at once, publicly, properly. So when we arrest Cersei, it's justice, not tyranny. Robert stops, looks at Ned. 2 days. Fine. But Ned, I want her in the black cells. Not house arrest, not comfortable quarters. The black cells, where she can think about what she's done. Agreed. But first, we secure her children. The bastards? They're innocent in this, Robert. Whatever Cersei and Jaime did, the children didn't choose it. We take custody of them. For their protection. Tell Cersei it's for their safety during the proceedings. Keep them close. Why? Because if we have the children, Cersei can't use them as leverage. And Tywin won't march if his grandchildren are in our custody. It's the smart move. Robert nods slowly. All right, secure the children, then we move against Cersei. But Ned, in 2 days, she's arrested. That's not negotiable. 2 days. I promise. The next morning, Cersei receives a summons. The king requests her presence, along with the children. She goes, wary, something feels wrong. Robert has been avoiding her for days. Now he wants the whole family together. She enters the throne room. Robert sits on the Iron Throne. Ned Stark beside him. Sir Barristan, Jory Cassel, and 30 guards line the walls. Too many guards. Robert. Cersei keeps her voice level. You summoned us? I did. Robert looks at Joffrey, Myrcella, and Tommen, the boy who might be king, the sweet daughter, the gentle son, none of them his. The realm is entering a difficult period, Robert says. His voice is formal, cold. There are threats to the stability of the crown, investigations into serious crimes. For the safety of the royal family, I'm implementing new security measures. What kind of measures? The children will be moved to the Tower of the Hand, under the protection of Lord Stark's guard, until the current investigations are resolved. Cersei's blood runs cold. You're taking my children? I'm protecting them. King's Landing is dangerous. The Tower of the Hand is more secure. This is not negotiable. I won't allow it. They're my children. They're the royal heirs, Robert interrupts. His voice is hard. And I'm the king. This is for their protection. Lord Stark will ensure they're well cared for. You may visit them, under supervision, but they stay in his custody. Cersei looks at Ned. He meets her eyes. She sees it there. He knows. About the children, about everything. This is the trap closing. When? She asks quietly. Now. Guards will escort them to the tower. Pack whatever they need. But Cersei, any attempt to resist, any attempt to flee with them, will be treated as treason. Do you understand? She's lost. The children are hostages. She can't run, can't fight, can only watch as they take everything from her. I understand. Joffrey protests. Father, I don't want to leave the royal apartments. It's not a request, Joffrey. Go with Lord Stark's men. Obey them. This is for your safety. Myrcella looks scared. Tommen is crying. They don't understand. Cersei hugs them, whispers, Be brave. Be strong. I'll come see you soon. I promise. Then northern guards escort them away. Cersei watches them go, her power dissolving with every step. When they're gone, she turns to Robert. What's this really about? You'll find out. Tomorrow. At the court session, the whole realm will find out. Robert stands. You're dismissed, Cersei. Go back to your chambers and stay there. Guards will be posted. For your protection, of course. She leaves, surrounded by guards. A prisoner in all but name. In her chambers, she finds Jaime waiting. They took the children, she says. Her voice is hollow. Stark has them as hostages. Jaime's face goes pale. What? Robert knows. I don't know how, but he knows. About us. About them. Everything. Tomorrow there's a court session. They're going to expose it all. Then we run. Tonight. Take the children and flee to Casterly Rock. We can't. Stark has the children. They're in the Tower of the Hand. Surrounded by guards. We'd never reach them. Then what do we do? Cersei sits. For the first time in her life, she has no plan, no scheme, no way out. We face it, tomorrow. Whatever they accuse us of, we deny everything. Claim it's a Stark plot to seize power. Maybe some lords will believe us. Maybe we can. The throne room. The next day. The court is assembled. Every lord and lady in King's Landing, the small council, the King's Guard. Hundreds of witnesses. Robert sits on the Iron Throne. Ned stands below. Cersei and Jaime are brought in. Not in chains, but surrounded by guards. We are gathered, Robert announces, to address matters of grave importance to the realm. Accusations have been made. Evidence has been gathered. Today, the truth will be spoken. The crowd murmurs, confused, curious. Robert nods to Ned. Lord Hand, present your case. His voice carries through the hall. Your Grace, lords and ladies of the realm, I stand before you to present evidence of crimes against the crown, crimes that threaten the very foundations of our kingdom. He pulls out documents, holds them high. First, attempted murder of the king. Lancel Lannister, squire to his grace, has confessed to participating in a plot to kill King Robert during a hunt. He was instructed by Queen Cersei to provide the king with fortified wine 3 times normal strength, to impair his judgment during a dangerous hunt. The goal, to make the king's death appear an accident. Cersei's face is stone. Lancel Lannister, Ned calls. Guards, bring him forward. Read your confession. Lancel, shaking, reads. Every detail, Cersei's instructions, the poisoned wine, the plan. When he finishes, the crowd is in uproar. Cersei stands. This is a lie. A boy trying to save himself by inventing stories. Second, Ned continues, ignoring her. The matter of the royal succession. Grand Maester Pycelle. Step forward, reluctant but committed. Tell the court what you told me. About Jon Arryn's investigation, Pycelle clears his throat. Lord Arryn came to me weeks before his death. He asked questions about heredity, about whether children could have features completely different from their parents. Specifically, about House Baratheon. What did you tell him? I told him that Baratheon features are dominant, strong. In 300 years of recorded history, every Baratheon child has had black hair, without exception. Even when married to golden-haired families, the Baratheon features always dominate. And what did Lord Arryn do with this information? He visited the king's bastards, Gendry on the Street of Steel, Maya Stone in the Vale, others. All of them have black hair, Baratheon black. Then he compared them to the royal children. Pycelle pauses. The crowd is silent. And what did he conclude? That the royal children, Joffrey, Myrcella, and Tommen, have no Baratheon features at all. Golden hair, green eyes, they appear to be purely Lannister. The throne room erupts, shouts, accusations, denials. Robert stands, silence. Ned pulls out the lineage book. This is the lineages and histories of the great houses of the Seven Kingdoms. The book Jon Arryn was reading before he died. Every Baratheon for 300 years. Every single one. Black hair. The seed is strong. He looks at Cersei. Your children have no Baratheon blood. Because they're not Robert's children. They're Jaime's, born of incest. Bastards pretending to be heirs. You have no proof, just speculation and a book. You can't prove. Third, Ned says, the death of Jon Arryn. Lord Petyr Baelish, currently in custody, has confessed to manipulating Lysa Arryn into poisoning her husband. Jon Arryn discovered the truth about the royal children. He was going to tell the king. So he was murdered. To keep the secret buried, Ned looks at the crowd. These are not isolated crimes. They are connected. A web of treason, murder, and deception, all designed to keep a lie on the throne, to pass off bastards as legitimate heirs. The crowd is in chaos now. Lords shouting, ladies fainting, guards struggling to maintain order. Robert stands, his voice is thunder. Cersei Lannister, you stand accused of high treason, attempted murder of the king, adultery with your brother, conspiracy to place bastards on the throne. What say you? Cersei lifts her chin, defiant to the end. I say you're a drunk and a fool. I say Eddard Stark is manipulating you, manufacturing evidence, trying to seize power for himself. These accusations are lies. Are they? Robert descends the throne, walks toward her. Look me in the eye, Cersei. Look me in the eye and tell me those children are mine. For a long moment, neither speaks. Then she smiles, cold, bitter. No, they're not yours. They're Jaime's. All three. I never loved you, Robert. Never wanted you. You were a drunken brute who killed the man I was meant to marry and forced me into this cage. So yes, I took comfort with the one person who ever loved me, and I gave him children worthy of the throne, better than any whelp you could have sired. The silence is absolute. Then Robert backhands her. Hard. She falls. Arrest her, Robert says. His voice is cold. Dead. Arrest them both. The black cells. They await trial for treason. Guards seize Cersei. She doesn't resist, just stares at Robert with hatred. Jaime steps forward, his hand on his sword. You're not taking her. And if you try, you die. Is that what you want? Jaime looks at the swords, at Cersei being dragged away, at the trap that's closed around them. I want to be with her, he says quietly. Whatever comes, we face it together. Then drop your sword. Come peacefully. Live to stand trial. Jaime looks at Cersei. She nods. He drops his sword, lets the guards take him. As they're led away, the court watches in stunned silence, the queen and the kingslayer, arrested for treason, the heirs to the throne exposed as bastards. The realm has changed. Forever. King's Landing, the Tower of the Hand. That evening, the children sit in their new quarters. Confused, scared. Joffrey is angry. Myrcella is crying. Tommen doesn't understand. Ned enters, sits with them. I know this is frightening, but you're safe here. I promise. Where's our mother? Myrcella asks. She's being held. There are serious accusations. She'll have a trial. What accusations? Joffrey demands. What has she done? Ned looks at the boy, 13 years old. Arrogant, cruel sometimes, but still a child. That's something we'll discuss when you're older. For now, you're under my protection. You'll be cared for, educated, treated with respect. I'm the prince, the heir. I should be free. You're a ward until the king decides otherwise. I suggest you accept that and make the best of it. After he leaves, Sansa approaches. She's been asked to help the younger children adjust. Myrcella, would you like to see your chambers? They're quite nice. And Tommen, I thought you might want to see the ravens. The maester keeps them in the tower. Slowly, gently, the Stark children help the Lannister children adjust. Not as prisoners, but as guests, as wards, as children who deserve kindness despite their parents' crimes. Ned watches from the doorway. These children are innocent. Whatever happens to Cersei and Jaime, these three will not pay for their parents' sins. King's Landing. The black cells. That same night, Cersei and Jaime sit in adjacent cells, able to talk, but not touch. I'm sorry, Cersei says. I should have been more careful, should have seen this coming. We both should have. Jaime leans against the bars. What happens now? Trial. Probably tomorrow or the day after. They'll present their evidence. We'll be convicted. And then, she doesn't finish. Death? Yes. Together, if we're lucky. They're silent for a while. Then Jaime speaks. The children, do you think Stark will protect them? He promised he would. And Stark keeps his promises. They'll live. That's more than we could hope for. It's not enough. It's all we have. They sit in darkness, waiting for dawn, waiting for the end. Above them, the realm churns, lords debating, factions forming, the succession in chaos, but in the Tower of the Hand, Ned is already planning, already thinking ahead. The Lannisters are defeated, but the realm needs stability, a new succession, a new future. And Ned has an idea, a dangerous idea, but perhaps the only one that can unite the Seven Kingdoms. Casterly Rock, the Westerlands. 5 days later, Tywin Lannister receives the Raven. His face betrays nothing as he reads, but his knuckles are white where he grips the parchment. Kavan Lannister enters. Brother, what news? Attempted murder of the king. Incest. The children have been declared bastards and are being held at the Tower of the Hand as wards. What will you do? What can I do? Tywin sets the letter down. If I march on King's Landing, Stark has the children. My grandchildren. He's made that clear in his letter. They'll be the first to suffer if I move against him. So we do nothing? We let Cersei and Jaime die? I don't know yet. Tywin stands, walks to the window. Cersei was a fool. She tried to kill the king and got caught. There's no defending that. And Jaime, he pauses. Jaime let his cock rule his brain. Fathered bastards on the queen. Put our entire house at risk. Dead liabilities soon enough. Tywin turns. The children are what matter now. Joffrey, Myrcella, Tommen. They carry Lannister blood. They can still have futures if I can negotiate with Stark. What kind of futures? That depends on what Stark wants and what he's willing to trade. Tywin sits at his desk, begins writing. I'll send an envoy to King's Landing. Negotiate terms, see if there's a way to save the children's prospects. Maybe even save Jaime. And Cersei, she dies. But I won't let the entire house fall with her. We survive. We adapt. That's what Lannisters do. He seals the letter, calls for a raven. House Lannister will endure, even if it means sacrificing the queen. King's Landing, the Tower of the Hand. 1 week after the arrests, Ned meets with Robert. They're planning the trial, the executions, the succession. The lords are calling for blood, Robert says. They want Cersei and Jaime executed, publicly, immediately. But first, we need to address the succession. Without legitimate heirs, you need to name a new heir, someone the realm will accept. Stannis, by law, he's next in line. Stannis is difficult, inflexible. He'd be a hard king to follow, and he's unpopular. Then who? Renly? He's too young, too inexperienced. Someone with royal blood. Someone who could unite the realm instead of dividing it. Who? Jon Snow. Robert blinks. Your bastard? Not my bastard. My nephew, Lyanna's son. Robert goes very still. Lyanna had a son. Yes. At the Tower of Joy, she died giving birth. But the child lived. I claimed him as mine to protect him, because his father was Rhaegar Targaryen. The silence stretches. Robert's face cycles through emotions, shock, denial, rage, grief, confusion. Rhaegar's son, he says finally. His voice is hollow. You've been hiding Rhaegar's son all this time. To keep him alive. You wanted all Targaryens dead, Robert. You celebrated when Aegon and Rhaenys were murdered. If you'd known about Jon, I would have killed him. Robert stands, walks away. A baby. Lyanna's baby, I would have killed him because he was Rhaegar's. Yes. Robert is silent for a long time. When he speaks, his voice is quiet. Where is he now? The Wall. He joined the Night's Watch, took the Black. Lyanna's son. At the Wall. Robert laughs, bitter. And you want me to make him my heir? The son of the man I hate more than anyone? I want you to consider it. Jon is a good man. Honorable, like Lyanna was. He'd make a better king than Stannis, and he has both Stark and Targaryen blood. The North would follow him. The South might accept him with your blessing. And if I say no, then we find another solution. But Robert, the realm needs stability, a strong succession. Jon could provide that, if you can set aside your hatred long enough to see him as Lyanna's son instead of Rhaegar's. Robert walks to the window, stares out at the city. I need time to think, to process this. Take the time you need, but not too long. The realm is watching, waiting. We need to provide answers soon. Robert nods, doesn't speak, just stares out at King's Landing. Ned leaves him there. The seed is planted. Now it needs time to grow, or to be rejected. Either way, Ned will know soon. King's Landing, the throne room. 10 days after the arrests, the trial of Cersei and Jaime Lannister, the room is packed. Every seat taken, lords from across the realm. The evidence is presented, testimony from Lancel, from Pycelle, from servants who saw Cersei and Jaime together, from Littlefinger's written confession. The defense is weak. Cersei claims coercion. Jaime claims love. Neither defense matters. The verdict is unanimous. Guilty of treason, guilty of conspiracy. Robert pronounces sentence, Cersei Lannister. Jaime Lannister, you are sentenced to death. You will be executed at dawn tomorrow, in sight of the city. Let all see what becomes of traitors. Jaime asks one thing. The children, what happens to them? Robert looks at Ned. Ned steps forward. The children will remain as wards of House Stark. They'll be educated, protected, given opportunities to build lives for themselves. They are not responsible for your crimes. Thank you, Jaime says quietly. They're led away. The trial is over. That night, Ned visits them in the cells. One last time. I wanted you to know, he tells them. Your children will be safe. I've given my word. They'll grow up at Winterfell. With my own children, they'll learn honor, duty, how to be better than... He stops. Doesn't finish. Cersei smiles. Sad, bitter. Better than us, yes. Make sure they are, Lord Stark. Make sure they don't repeat our mistakes. In the morning, they're executed. Together, Cersei first, then Jaime. Quick, clean. Eddard Stark does it himself. With ice, the traditional northern way. The crowd watches in silence. The Queen and the Kingslayer, dead. An era ends, and a new one begins. King's Landing, the Tower of the Hand. 3 days after the executions, Ned sits at his desk, composing a letter, the most important letter he's ever written. John, I write to you with news that will change everything you thought you knew about yourself. I am not your father. I am your uncle. Your mother was my sister, Lyanna Stark. She died giving birth to you at the Tower of Joy. Before she died, she made me promise to protect you, to hide you, because your father was Rhaegar Targaryen. I claimed you as my bastard to keep you safe. King Robert would have killed you if he'd known the truth. For 16 years I've kept this secret. Let you suffer as a bastard, let Catelyn hate you, all to keep you alive. The realm is in crisis. The Queen has been executed for treason. Her children have been declared bastards. Robert has no heir, and he's considering naming you, legitimizing you, making you his successor. This is not a command. It's an offer. If you wish to remain at the wall, to keep your vows, I will support that decision. But if you're willing to consider it, if you're willing to leave the watch and take up this burden, then come to King's Landing. Meet Robert, hear what he has to say. Whatever you choose, know this. I have always loved you as a son. That was never a lie. Eddard Stark. He seals the letter, calls for a raven, sends it north. Then he waits. The wall is 2,000 miles away. Even with fast ravens in good weather, it will be weeks before Jon receives the letter. Weeks more before he could travel south. Time Ned doesn't know if he has. King's Landing, Robert's chambers. That evening, Robert drinks. Not to excess, just enough to dull the pain. I've been thinking about your suggestion, about Jon. Ned waits. I hated Rhaegar for 17 years. Blamed him for everything, for taking Lyanna, for starting the war, for all the death, and now you tell me he left a son. A son with her. Yes, part of me still wants him dead, wants to finish what I started. Kill every last Targaryen. Robert sets down his cup. But the other part, the part that loved Lyanna, that part wants to meet him, to see what kind of man she raised, even through you. He joined the Night's Watch to serve the realm, to protect people who will never know his name. That's who he is. How long until he arrives? 2 months, maybe longer. The wall is far and winter is coming. The roads will be difficult. Robert nods. Then we wait, and while we wait, we stabilize the realm. Deal with the fallout. Prepare the lords for what's coming. They won't accept a Targaryen easily, even one you legitimize. No, they won't. Which means we need to make the case, show them why Jon is the right choice. Better than Stannis' rigid justice, better than Renly's inexperience, better than civil war. I'll start laying the groundwork, talking to the lords, explaining the situation, and I'll start thinking about how to sell this to the realm. Robert stands. But Ned, if Jon arrives, and he's not what you claim, If he's arrogant or cruel or weak, this doesn't happen. I won't put a bad king on the throne just because he has Lyanna's blood. Judge him yourself. If you don't think he's worthy, we find another solution. Robert extends his hand. They shake. An agreement, a partnership, two men trying to save the realm from itself. King's Landing, the small council, 1 week later. The council has been reformed. Tyrion Lannister sits as master of coin. Freed after Catelyn's unlawful kidnapping, cleared of all involvement in his family's schemes, and pragmatic enough to serve the crown despite his sister's execution. Ned had opposed the appointment initially. Too dangerous, too much Lannister influence. But Robert had insisted. The imp had nothing to do with Cersei's treason, and he's brilliant with money. We need him. Now Tyrion reviews the ledgers Littlefinger left behind. The crown's debt is catastrophic. 6 million gold dragons, and that's after removing Baelish's embezzlement. We need actual revenue, not creative accounting. Can it be fixed? Ned asks. Over years, with tax reform, spending cuts, renegotiating terms with creditors. It's possible, but it requires discipline, something this crown has never had. We have it now, Robert says. Whatever it takes, fix it. Varys speaks next. My little birds report that the realm is unsettled. The Queen's execution has created uncertainty. Lords are asking questions about the succession, about stability. They need answers. They'll have them, Robert says. Soon. We're considering options. Options that involve legitimizing bastards? Tyrion asks. His eyes are sharp. Curious. Interesting choice. Bold. Potentially disastrous if mishandled. The succession will be announced when we're ready, not before. After the meeting, Tyrion approaches Ned privately. You're planning something significant. I can tell. Just be careful, Lord Stark. Legitimizing a bastard creates precedent. Other houses will use it, claim rights they don't have. The stability you're trying to create might breed chaos instead. I know the risks. Do you? Because I'm not sure you do. You've played the game well so far, better than anyone expected. But this next move, legitimizing someone, changing the succession, this is where even clever players fall. But I'm thinking. Tyrion smiles. And when I have one, you'll be the first to know. Winterfell, the North. 2 weeks after Ned's letter arrived, Jon Snow stands in the courtyard, his belongings packed. Robb beside him. You don't have to go, Robb says. You took vows. The Night's Watch is your life now. Father, Uncle Ned, he's asking, and the realm needs something. I don't know if I'm it, but I have to find out. You're a Targaryen, Rhaegar's son. That's Robb trails off. That's impossible to believe. Tell me about it. Jon looks at the walls of Winterfell, the home he never truly belonged to. All my life I was a bastard, an embarrassment. Now I find out I'm something else entirely. I don't know which is worse. You're my brother. That hasn't changed. Hasn't it? I'm the son of the man who started Robert's rebellion, the man who kidnapped, or didn't kidnap, our aunt. I'm the enemy made flesh. You're Jon. That's all that matters. They embrace. Then Jon rides south, with 2 rangers as escort. The journey will take 6 weeks if the weather holds. Longer if it doesn't. Behind him, Winterfell fades into the distance. Ahead lies King's Landing, and a future he never imagined. King's Landing, the Tower of the Hand. 6 weeks later, Jon arrives in the evening, exhausted, uncertain. He's never seen a city this large. The stench, the noise, the chaos. Ned meets him at the gate. They embrace. Awkward. Everything has changed between them. Thank you for coming, Ned says. I don't know why I did. The vows I took, if that's what you want, if you choose to accept what's being offered. Which is a crown, a throne, a realm to rule. Ned guides Jon inside. But first, you need to meet Robert. Talk to him. Let him decide if you're worthy. And if I'm not, then you go back to the wall. No one will think less of you. They walk through the Red Keep. Jon sees the opulence, the waste, the corruption barely hidden beneath golden paint. This is what you left Winterfell for? This place? Someone has to try to make it better, and you think I can do that? I think you could try, which is more than most people in power ever do. King's Landing, Robert's chambers. That evening, Robert sits across from Jon, studying him, looking for Rhaegar, looking for Lyanna, finding both. You have her eyes, Robert says finally. Lyanna's eyes. I'd forgotten how grey they were. Your Grace, Jon doesn't know what else to say. Do you know who I am? What I did to your father? I know you killed him, in battle, at the Trident. I caved in his chest with my warhammer, crushed his armor, his ribs, his heart. I killed him because he took Lyanna from me, because he started a war that killed thousands. I hated him more than I've ever hated anyone. Jon says nothing, and now I find out he left a son. With the woman I loved, a son who's been raised by my best friend, as a bastard, to keep him safe from me. Robert drinks. Life is full of ironies, boy. Cruel ones. I didn't ask for any of this. Neither did I, but here we are. Robert leans forward. Ned thinks you should be my heir, legitimized, named prince, eventually king. What do you think? I think it's madness. I'm nobody, a bastard who joined the Night's Watch. Why would the realm accept me? Because I'd command it, and because the alternative is worse. Civil war, Stannis versus Renly, the realm tearing itself apart over succession. You'd prevent that by lying about who I am? You're not lying. You're Lyanna's son. That's true. You have royal blood, Stark and Targaryen both. That's true. And with my legitimization, you'd be a Baratheon by law. Also true, the realm doesn't need to know everything, just enough to accept you. Jon stands, walks to the window, looks out at the city. All my life I wanted to be more than a bastard, to have a name, a place. Now you're offering it and I don't know if I want it. On hiding who I really am, on pretending to be something I'm not. How is that different from what Joffrey was? A lie on the throne. To steal power, you'd be a truth presented carefully. To unite the realm, to prevent war, that's not the same thing. Isn't it? No, because you'd actually try to be a good king. You'd serve the realm, not yourself. That's what matters. Jon turns. I need time to think, to decide if I can live with this. But not too long. The realm is waiting, and waiting too long breeds instability. Jon leaves. Robert sits alone, wondering if he's made the right choice, if Jon will accept, if the realm will follow. So many uncertainties, so much risk, but what choice is there? King's Landing, the Sept of Baelor. 1 week later. Jon has made his decision. He meets Ned at the Sept. I'll do it, but on conditions. I don't become a Baratheon. I stay a Stark, legitimized as Jon Stark. Lyanna's son, not Rhaegar's bastard, not Robert's adopted heir. Just Jon Stark, Prince of the Seven Kingdoms, through my mother's blood and Robert's decree. Emphasizes your northern heritage. Makes you more acceptable to the north. And Robert might agree. He's trying to move past the Targaryen name anyway. Second condition. The truth about my father stays hidden. The realm knows I'm Lyanna's son, raised by you to protect me from Robert's Targaryen purge. But they don't need to know Rhaegar was my father. That stays secret. Between us? Agreed. The fewer people who know, the safer you are. Third condition. I don't take the throne immediately. Robert stays king. I'm just the heir. I learn. I prepare. I prove myself worthy before I rule. Robert will like that. He's not ready to abdicate, and the realm will have time to accept you. Then it's settled. Talk to Robert, see if he agrees. Ned does. Robert accepts the conditions. Reluctantly, but he accepts. The announcement is prepared. King's Landing. The throne room. 2 weeks later, a formal court session. Lords from across the realm assembled to hear the king's proclamation. Robert stands. My lords, the realm has endured crisis. The queen's treason, the discovery that my heirs were bastards, the execution of traitors. Now we must move forward. We must secure the succession, ensure stability. The crowd murmurs, waiting. I am legitimizing Jon Snow, bastard son of Lyanna Stark and an unnamed father, lost during Robert's rebellion, raised by Lord Eddard Stark to protect him from the chaos of war. From this day forward, he is Jon Stark, trueborn son of House Stark. Furthermore, I name Jon Stark as Prince of the Seven Kingdoms, my chosen heir. When I die, he will inherit the Iron Throne, by my decree, by my right as king. This is my will. Some lords cheer, others protest. The chaos is immediate. A lord from the Stormland stands. Your Grace, this is unprecedented. You're naming a northern bastard as heir? What about your brothers? Lord Stannis has the lawful claim. Lord Stannis will be compensated, given lands, honors, but he will not be king. I've made my choice. A Reach Lord objects. This boy has no experience, no training. How can he rule? He'll learn, under my guidance. And Lord Stark's, by the time I die, he'll be ready. More objections, more questions. Robert answers each one, firmly, finally. After an hour, the protests die down. Acceptance, grudging, uncertain, begins to settle in. The decree is signed. Jon Stark is officially the heir. But the real work is just beginning. King's Landing, the small council. 3 months later, Jon attends his first council meeting. As prince, as heir, he sits beside Robert, listening, learning. The topics are complex: financial reform, military positioning, trade agreements. Jon understands some of it, the rest is overwhelming. After the meeting, Tyrion approaches him. You looked lost in there. I was. Half the discussion went over my head. Normal. It takes years to understand how the realm actually functions. Don't be discouraged. How do I learn faster? Read. Everything. Financial records, legal codes, historical precedents, military strategy. And ask questions, never pretend to understand when you don't. That's how bad decisions get made. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. I'm about to make your life harder. Tyrion grins. I'm assigning you to review the City Watch budget. Find inefficiencies. Report back in 2 weeks. Consider it your first real test. Jon groans. But he takes the assignment, begins reading, learning, slowly becoming what he needs to be. Winterfell. The North. 6 months after Jon's legitimization, Catelyn reads Ned's letter explaining everything: Jon's parentage, the decision to legitimize him, the new succession. She sits for a long time, processing. Then she writes back, Ned, I understand why you did what you did to protect Lyanna's son, to keep your promise. But you should have told me. All these years I hated an innocent boy, made him feel unwanted. If I'd known the truth, I could have been kinder. I forgive you for the lie, but I will never forgive myself for how I treated Jon. That burden is mine to carry. The realm is changing. You've changed it, made it safer, but at what cost? You've become someone I don't recognize. Ruthless, calculating. You executed the queen, manipulated the succession, played the game as well as any Southerner. I'm proud of what you've accomplished, and terrified by what you've become. Come home soon, before the South takes everything that made you Ned Stark. Catelyn. Ned reads the letter, alone in his chambers, and for the first time in months he allows himself to cry. She's right, he's changed, lost parts of himself, traded honor for survival, morality for pragmatism. He's kept his family alive, secured the realm, but the cost may be his soul. King's Landing, the Tower of the Hand. 1 year after Cersei's execution, the Lannister children have adjusted. Myrcella and Tommen are thriving at Winterfell, happy, healthy, learning to be better than their parents. Joffrey is harder, angry, resentful, but slowly, under Robb's influence and Ned's firm guidance, even he is improving. Tywin has visited once. Under supervision, he saw his grandchildren, spoke with them, and negotiated terms for their futures. Myrcella will be betrothed to a northern lord when she comes of age, an alliance between north and west. Tommen will train as a maester. Joffrey's future is uncertain, but he'll never rule, never hold power. Just live, quietly, watched. It's more mercy than Tywin expected. He accepted the terms. House Lannister survives, diminished, humbled, but alive. King's Landing, the throne room. 18 months after Jon's legitimization, a great council is called, lords from all 7 kingdoms, to formally ratify Jon as heir. The debate is intense. Some lords support Jon, others oppose him. Arguments about legitimacy, about precedent, about northern versus southern interests. Lord Royce of the Vale speaks in favor. The boy is Stark blood. That's good enough for me. How do we know he'll be a good king? The arguments continue for days. Finally, a vote. The majority supports Jon. Not overwhelming, but enough. The succession is ratified. Jon Stark is officially, legally, irrevocably the heir to the Iron Throne. Afterward, Ned and Jon stand on the battlements, looking out at the city. Do you regret it? Jon asks. Everything you did to get here? The manipulation, the cold calculation. That's not who I was. Is that who you are now? I don't know. Maybe, or maybe I'm something in between. Not the honorable fool I was, not the ruthless schemer I pretended to be. Just someone trying to survive in a world that punishes honor. Was it worth it? Ned looks at Jon. The boy, the man who will one day be king, the future of the Seven Kingdoms. Ask me again in 20 years, when you're ruling, when the realm is stable or in chaos. Then I'll know if it was worth it. Jon nods. They stand in silence, watching the sun set over King's Landing. The game is over. Ned Stark won. But the cost of victory weighs heavy on his soul, and he wonders, late at night when he can't sleep, whether he's become the very thing he fought against, whether in defeating the Lannisters, he became like them. The answer terrifies him, because he doesn't know. Epilogue. 5 years later, Robert dies, not in battle, not murdered, just dies. His heart gives out, too much wine, too much stress, too many years of excess. Jon Stark becomes king of the Seven Kingdoms at 25, ready, prepared, everything Ned hoped he would be. The realm accepts him, not enthusiastically, but they accept him. The North loves him. The South tolerates him, and slowly, carefully, he begins to rule. Ned remains his hand for 2 more years, then retires, returns to Winterfell, to Catelyn, to his family, to try to remember who he was before King's Landing changed him. He never fully succeeds, but he tries. The Lannister children grow up. Myrcella marries a Manderly, becomes Lady of White Harbor, happy, kind, nothing like her mother. Tommen becomes a maester, serves at the Citadel, gentle, good. Everything his father wasn't. Joffrey struggles, but he lives, quiet, watched, never dangerous. Littlefinger dies at the Wall, frozen in winter, a quiet end for a man who loved chaos. Varys continues to serve, whispering, watching, ensuring the realm stays stable. His little birds everywhere, his motives forever unclear. And Jon Stark rules. Not perfectly, he makes mistakes, faces challenges, but he tries, every day, to be worthy of the throne, to honor Lyanna, to make Ned's sacrifices mean something. Winter comes, as it always does, but this time the Seven Kingdoms face it united, strong, led by a king who understands duty, because Ned Stark played the Game of Thrones, and he won, but the price was everything he believed in, everything he was. In the end, he saved the realm and lost himself. That is the true cost of victory. That is what it means to play the game. Let us know what you'd like to see next. The end.